This is the Overdue Homework Podcast.
Welcome to the show. That's Trav. I'm Drew.
And I'm Trav.
This is the Overdue Homework Podcast. And as always, we are here to talk about 80s and 90s media. Did you do your homework this week, Trav?
I did my homework.
Me too.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. I hope all of you out there in podcast land did your homework as well. Don't forget to contact us at overduehomeworkpodcast@gmail.com. And we want your ideas for shows. We want your ideas for formats. We want your ideas about anything.
Anything.
We want to hear it. If you've got something to say, we want to hear it.
Exactly.
How are you doing, Trav?
Pretty darn good. Weather's awesome. Been out walking outside every day and enjoying a day off. How about you?
It's been really awesome. I've still been at home with the new baby, so everything's been going great with that. Go back to work really soon, which is unfortunate because I don't want to go back to work. And I'm going to miss my son quite a bit. Like, it's going to be difficult to be like, see you later. I'm only going to see you for part of the day now.
Yeah.
This is it. This is forever now, part of the day. That's
and
it.
I'm going to be exhausted.
Yeah, that's what I'm not looking forward to because it's been easy to maintain the, up relationship with our daughter.
Yeah.
And, give her the extra attention and everything. It's just been super easy because I've been home.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more difficult now after having worked all day.
Definitely.
It doesn't matter what you do after a whole day of work if it's physically or mentally taxing. It makes it difficult at the end of the day to do anything, period.
Yeah.
So,
did you do this homework with Evie?
we decided that she was too young.
Okay.
We decided she was too young. My wife and I watched it, and then we were like, yeah, I don't think so. The Gmork would have been a little bit too much for her.
Sure.
And then the couple of bloody scenes, I think, were a little bit too much for her. So
yeah.
very soon, though. I can't wait. I
Yeah.
can't wait. Cam and I watched it, though. I mean, he sat on my lap while we watched it, so that was really good. But
You may have fallen asleep.
he most definitely fell asleep. So today in the production of this podcast, I used some articles from across the interwebs, one from EW.com, and that was by Rosie Cordro, one from Dipley.com, and that was by Jordan Clays, one from Ranker.com, and that was by Hannah Collins, and then again, we used 80skids.com, and again, it is uncredited, so I don't know where they're getting their information from, but whoever's providing it doesn't want to be credited, so good for you, 80skids.com.
Thank you, somebody.
So I think we're ready to hit that homework review. How about you?
Let's do it.
All right. So we did The NeverEnding Story from 1984, and this movie was directed by Wolfgang Peterson. It's based on The NeverEnding Story by Michael Enda. It's starring Barrett Oliver as Bastian Balthazar Bucks, Noah Hathaway as Atreyu. So a little backstory with Atreyu and his casting. There was a different director attached before Wolfgang was for this movie. And so there was a worldwide search. They went through about 50,000 boys for the part of Atreyu, and Hathaway auditioned as many as 7 times before he got the part.
Jeez.
So he got the part. The first director left the project because he was overwhelmed and didn't think that he could do it. So he personally called Wolfgang, and Wolfgang was basically hired off of that recommendation.
That's crazy.
The casting process started over from the beginning.
Jeez.
At that point. Finally, Hathaway was cast again after 3 or 4 more auditions, this time with Wolfgang Peterson. That's pretty interesting, right? It's almost like he was meant for the role.
Yeah,
right?
pretty resilient for that kid to keep coming back.
That's a lot of work, but I guess if you want to make it in the industry.
Yeah. He didn't want to be a troubled teen.
Next, Tammy Stronach was the childlike empress. Finding the right childlike empress took 3,000 auditions.
Holy crap.
Like, dang, right? This
Yeah.
movie, I tell you what, this movie. Gerald McRaney as Barney Bucks, Bastian's widowed workaholic father. He was most famously on Major Dad, if you're of our generation. It was a sitcom in the early 90s. I think it was like 93 to maybe 96 or 95. He was a retired military veteran, and he ran his household like the military, and everybody called him Major. Nobody called him Dad, so
nice.
I remember watching that show with the family. It was a pretty good one. He's been in tons and tons of other stuff dating back to the early 70s. So,
Sure.
But this is the one. That's the one I think if you're of a certain age would remember it. Alan Oppenheimer. He voiced Falkor. the Gmork, rockbiter, and the narrator. The latter 3 were uncredited. He auditioned after all the shooting for the film had been completed. He basically was shown an image of Falkor at his audition, and then he did his audition. Afterwards, after Oppenheimer's audition, I'll say that again, I guess, Wolfgang Petersen said, "Yeah, that was fine.
That was fine.
So they went to Munich where the studios were, and the movie was played, and Oppenheimer put his voice to it. And then after it was completed, Oppenheimer asked for a playback, so he wanted to watch his parts in the movie and see how it all sounded. He didn't think he got it quite right, so he said he wanted to do it again. Wolfgang apparently liked the original cut, but was like, sure, let's try it again tomorrow. Whatever, I don't care. But ultimately, the second take was the one that was used in the movie. So when they were done with his Falkor lines, Wolfgang asked Oppenheimer to just do the rockbiter quick, just do the lines. And so we did it.
Nice.
And then when that was all done, Wolfgang said, wait a minute, there's one more. You want to do the character of Gmork? And Oppenheimer was like, sure, why not? And then finally, before the day was done, Wolfgang was like, how about the narrator? You want to do the narrator? Come on, let's do the narrator. And he did it. And then Oppenheimer apparently is quoted as saying, I guess that day he got 4 for 1. So,
jeez.
Yeah, the article made it sound like there was no extra pay involved for doing the extra characters, which seems kind of weird to me.
Seems kind of weird. He sounded so familiar as Rockbiter that I had to check if he was the same voice as Treebeard from Lord of the Rings. And he is not.
He is not.
But I was like, man, that sounds like Treebeard.
Yeah, that is actually that's a pretty close, it's a voice doppelganger for you almost, right? Yep. Deep Roy is another actor in this movie. He was Teeny Weeny, the guy that had the racing snail. And you may have recognized him. He's been in a whole bunch of movies. He was in Return of the Jedi. He was an Ewok, and he was also a stand-in double for R2-D2. He was in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. He was in Hook. He was in Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme. And then one out of the 2000s, he was all of the Oompa Loompas in Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Jeez.
So he's been around forever. Another actor that's been doing movies since I think I saw his was late 60s, so he's been working forever.
Yeah.
And then Thilo Prunkner. I don't know German. As the Night Hob. And he was the messenger riding the narcoleptic hang-gliding bat. So.
Yeah.
This movie was distributed by Warner Brothers. It was released April 6th, 1984 in West Germany, and then July 20th, 1984 in the good old United States of America. Just a little note that I wanted to put in here, and I couldn't find a good place to put it anywhere, so I'm putting it right here. At the time, this film was the most expensive movie ever to be filmed in Germany.
Holy cow.
Oh, how about that? If I remember right, it was like 57, if I remember what it was last podcast when we talked about it, like 67 million Deutschmarks or something like that. It was like $25 million United States. Go back to the last podcast and listen to the last 20 minutes.
Or the whole thing.
Or the whole thing. That'd be preferable. I like your idea a lot better, Trav. I like your idea a lot better. I'm ready for the breakdown if you are.
Let's break it down.
All right, I can't wait. The NeverEnding Story. So in this opening sequence, especially in the opening credits, I just love the sweet fantasy world clouds that are in it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think they achieved that effect by blowing smoke across underneath a plane of glass.
Oh, okay.
And then the camera's looking up from underneath it, and then they put the lighting on the other side of the glass, so it makes it look like rolling clouds. I think that's how they do it. I didn't look at it. Look it up. I'm pretty sure that's how they do it. Pretty sure. So take it from me. I might know something or not. Immediately, Bastian's waking up, and it's breakfast time. Bastian can't open the jelly. He's a weakling.
He can't open the jelly, and we cannot blow past the amazing song in the beginning.
Oh, no, we can't. No,
that opening credits is just, oh my God. It's bumping in my house with the sound bar. I just blast it. And then I talked to you about it, and you said that song was created for the movie.
It was. So there was the score that you hear out throughout the whole movie is the only music that is in the German version.
Oh, okay.
So then this song, and I think maybe one other song, I don't remember exactly, were made made for the American release.
Sure.
So that song is not in the German release. It is in the American release.
Man, they're missing out.
They are missing out. I got to imagine that the American release is now like the adopted international version.
Yeah.
I would have to imagine.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, maybe in Germany you can only find this single West German version from 1984, but I don't know.
It's like worth more money or something.
Hey, maybe. I bet you I should have looked for that. I did look for the soundtrack on eBay to like have it here for the podcast today. But even the cassettes were like $34.
Holy cow.
I originally wanted to get it on vinyl, but they were like $100, $150. I'm like, oh man, not buying that.
Not buying that. But back to Bastian being a weakling.
Total nerd, right?
Total nerd.
Total nerd. As a matter of fact, he spent the night dreaming about his dead mom. Like, that is rough.
That's rough. That's definitely, you feel for the kid right away.
Yeah, you definitely do. And you know who doesn't feel for him? His dad.
His Wonder Bread buying dad.
His Wonder Bread buying dad. We have to get on with it. We have to get on with things, Bastian.
Yeah.
Like, jeepers creepers.
It's okay, but enough is enough.
We have responsibilities. We can't let mom's death be an excuse for not getting the old job done, right?
Right.
Jesus, dude, like, his mom just died. I mean, it seems like it's fairly fresh. Like, she has not been dead for very long at this point. So his dad is talking to him about the fact that Bastian's having a hard time at school now. They're having a little breakfast heart to heart. Unicorns in the math book, which I can appreciate. Napoleon Dynamite, maybe a little bit of nod to NeverEnding Story, having the unicorn. I don't know, maybe. His dad's very disappointed that he skipped the swim team tryout.
Yep.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Yes.
Don't skip
I
this.
expected better from you, Bastian.
Now, what about those riding lessons? You're not going to get those riding lessons if you don't get your grades up there, Bastian. As a matter of fact, you seem to be afraid of horses. Why do you want? And then he's basically telling Bastian, like, get your head out of the clouds, get your feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And then Bastian just like, okay.
All right.
Bastian's dad gives him a firm handshake and walks out the door. I mean, that's what it equated to, basically.
Basically.
Tousled his hair and said, don't be late to school.
I wasn't late yesterday.
They almost feel like roommates, you know? It's a weird interaction that they have. And it also seems like his dad basically can't wait to get the hell out of there and go to work.
Yeah, seriously.
So Bastian is on his way to school now, and as it turns out, Bastian lives in Vancouver, British Columbia, so that's where all that stuff was filmed. So
Nice.
I'm assuming that it is Vancouver, so I'm going to go with it.
Yep.
Quickly, we find some bullies.
Bullies.
Hey, look, it's the weirdo.
Hey, look, it's the weirdo. Give us your money.
So naturally, Bastian runs away. What else would you do in that
Obviously.
situation? The bullies do catch up to that mama's boy. He's got no money. So they dump him in the dumpster, right? And what are you going to do? Dump him in the dumpster. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Maybe the chicken can lay an egg in there, huh? Maybe he can.
And they allude to the fact that that's been done before. So why doesn't Bastian take a different running route? Why does he always run by the dumpster?
That's a really good question. And did you notice, though, also when he was running down the street into the alleyway, there were multiple adults that were like watching it all go down and just like, what the heck's going on there? Oh, whatever.
Man, I wish I had something to record this.
Oh, my goodness. So Bastian gets out and ultimately gets busted again by the bullies. So he's got to run again. Why do you think the movie was like, let's make him run away twice? Why not just run into the bookstore immediately?
Yeah.
Just run into that bookstore.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess to really show these kids are big-time bullies.
That's probably it, right? That's probably it.
Like maybe this is your answer as to why he's always late for school. It's the same thing every day. I don't know, but he's afraid to tell his dad they're stealing his money, or I don't know.
You're probably right. I didn't draw that conclusion, but you're probably right. That's why he's late to school. He's getting bullied every morning, and he's embarrassed about it, doesn't want to talk to his dad because his dad's probably going to say, well, you got to defend yourself. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Your mom's not coming back, so I didn't even bring her up.
Just get over your mom, all right?
So, I mean, that's at least why he's late today. So.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's probably why he's been late most often than not. I mean, maybe he's been dilly-dallying a little bit, but having to deal with bullies most likely on the way to school every day. Yeah, that's probably why he's late. But this time he ducks into the bookstore and immediately, get out of here, I don't like kids.
I don't like kids.
The video arcade is down the street. Here we just sell small rectangular objects called books. I know books. I have 187.
Comic books.
And then Bastian asks, what's that book about? Our titular book of the movie. Oh, that's something special. Your books are safe. What you need is safe. And that one isn't? No, it isn't, kid. That's what I'm trying to get to here. Don't worry about it. This book is not for you. Convenient movie phone ringing so that he can be distracted, right?
Right.
Bastian grabs the book, runs out of there, and the dude looks back and is like, yep, that's what I wanted him to do.
Exactly what I wanted him to do. And he also had time for a little note.
Don't worry, I'll bring it back. God, nerd. Just kidding. Bastian is late for school again. He peeks in that door, which everybody would have noticed the head peeking in that window, but that's okay. He's going to skip that math test, even though it's like the last thing he should probably do. Why not bust in there? I'm here.
I'm here. Please don't tell my dad.
Please don't tell my dad. So instead, he escapes to the school's attic.
Which he's clearly done before and not been caught. Alrighty.
You do have to love a good 1980s, 1990s movie attic, right?
Yeah.
You gotta love that stuff.
In the school,
even better. It didn't even look like... So I have a hard time with the way the attic is portrayed and like the level that he went. He only went up one set of stairs.
Yeah.
Because later when he comes back out and checks things out when the school day's over, it's like a half a flight of stairs to where that door. Yeah, there's probably more stairs in there, but still, in my mind, making it jive with the exterior of the school just doesn't seem to really make sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
Anyways, I love a good movie's attic. A good movie addict. Addict. There's a difference.
Hey.
There's a difference. But in this attic, our adventure begins. We get to meet the rockbiter and his friends. I thought this was a really good way to visit Fantasia for the first time.
Yeah.
It was a really good introduction. What did you think about the VFX on your first, impression of this movie?
I actually liked it. I don't think it was... I'm glad there's no CGI or anything. And I don't know, I think it's done really well. I didn't think of it as crappy or cheesy or, wow, that looks super fake. I think it all worked perfectly for how it should be.
I totally agree with you. You can tell that it's effects of a different era of movie.
Yeah.
But it still totally holds up.
Yeah.
It's still totally believable. None of it is ever like, man, I just can't get over how crappy this looks.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't try to do too much.
No, they really don't. And they do a lot, especially in that first scene, the way they meld the two frames of film together, because obviously the rockbiter was shot at a different scale. The two frames of film were put together. It looks really good. And at first glance, it does not look out of place.
Right.
He feels that big. It's really, he feels majestic and gigantic, and the other characters are going to just be run over. You feel that. You really do feel that. They're just really great effects right off the bat when we really hit Fantasia for the first time. So to talk about the rockbiter a little bit, so a human puppeteer controlled that from within the suit.
Okay.
And it was a dude called Colin the Stuntman. That's who was in it. That's what it's credited as.
Colin the Stuntman.
He would spend 2 hours at a time in there in the giant suit, and then it would get so hot in there that they had to give him water through various holes in the suit so he could stay in there long enough.
Jeez.
The sense of size and weight created by the camera effects is just really, really good, and it's really done very well with that suit. It was really various cables and pulleys and levers inside of that suit that made it all really work and articulate. So I really appreciate that there's a dude in there.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have known that.
Way
That's
to go,
awesome.
man. That's how big that suit actually was. It was, it wasn't a puppet or a smaller size model. It was a dude in an oversized suit.
Yeah.
That probably really helped out with the feeling of scale. And its movements looked more natural than a marionette puppet or something
Agreed,
would look.
yeah.
So I like that a lot. But
Way to go, Colin the Stuntman.
shout out Colin the Stuntman. I know you're a listener.
Definitely. Email us.
So the rockbiter opens up because he really, really loves his rocks. It's a delicious looking limestone rock. Must be a real vintage year. That whole bit is played for some really great comedy. The rocks flying everywhere. It's just really
How
good
much is he actually eating? So much of it is falling.
It's like Cookie Monster puppet eating. It's just jamming it in there until it falls out.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
So we find out from the rockbiter that wherever he came from, the north, we don't know exactly where in the north he came from, there were exquisite rocks,
Yeah.
but they're all gone now.
Oh, man.
And they're gone.
What a pig.
No, he's not a pig. It was the nothing.
The nothing.
But then it was all gone. He can be a real downer.
He
in this
can
movie. Nothing was there anymore. A hole? No, a hole would be something. But, it's kind of weird that Teeny Weeny and Night Hob were so, not critical. They were so skeptical of what he was talking about. And then the next line, they go and confirm it. They're like, yeah, the same thing's happening in the South and the West.
Exactly. Damn, this rock guy is crazy. Well, I mean, the same thing's happening here, but where are you coming from? The North? There's no way it could be happening there.
It's already everywhere. The whole land is in danger. That's too bad for you, Night Hob.
Yeah.
But they're all on their way to see the Empress, so they have a combined goal now. So it's like a real quest, guys.
Right.
Yay, it's a real quest.
Cue another awesome song.
Yeah, absolutely. If the Empress can't save us, who can?
Dun,
Well,
dun, dun.
yeah, we're going to find out in a second. The racing snail, the dude with the narcoleptic bat, and the rockbiter depart for the ivory tower. But, oh no, the nothing. The nothing. It's right there, so you guys better get moving.
Yeah.
It's
Probably get going.
literally right there. Keep going. Yeah, literally right there. You move on. So we rejoin our companions, our new group of companions, well on their way to the heart of Fantasia. I never knew it was that beautiful. Like the rockbiter's taken aback by it.
Right.
And honestly, when that music hits, when you see the ivory tower for the first time, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's unbelievable. Just thinking about it just gives me the goosebumps.
Yeah.
It hits so hard. It's just dang, man.
Yeah, this music, the whole movie is so good, honestly.
It helps that it really does look beautiful.
Yeah.
The fuzzy light, the fuzzy bright light that it's just so mysterious.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so wonderful and warming. Everything about it just looks so unbelievably cool.
Yeah.
Just
Like
so cool.
Goku going Ultra Instinct up
Yeah,
to
man.
the skies, man.
It definitely does. It definitely does. That look, that's what I base all of my fantasy movie wantings on. Is the look of this movie.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
love it, absolutely. So now we're at the home of the Empress, and she's our only hope. And that's what the Night Hob says, and I think, thanks, Obi-Wan. Just rip that directly from Star Wars, right? Inside there, we're at the princess's home, basically, at the Empress's home. It's a who's who of Fantasianites?
Fantasianites? I like that.
Fantasians? Fantasianites? I'm going to go with Fantasianites. You got big rockhead dudes. They're pretty sweet, right?
They're pretty cool.
Four-face lady. She got four faces. You got double-face dude.
Double face dude.
Yep. Elephant guy.
Elephant guy.
Uh-huh. And then the old blue bird dude. It's a who's who. They're all there.
Who's who? They're all there.
They're all
there. Where's the Empress? We don't know.
Well, they're all there to seek help from the Empress. She is deathly ill and can't help them. So nuts to you.
Sorry, everybody.
We find out that there's a link between her health and the nothing. But there is a hero. So this character's name is Chiron. What did you think of Chiron? The guy that's talking to Atreyu in this scene and stuff.
He's all right.
He's aight. He's aight. He seems just like a mouthpiece.
Yeah, definitely.
But there is a hero. But there is a hero. Atreyu.
Atreyu.
And then Bastian. Atreyu? Not Atreyu the child, Atreyu the warrior.
I can assure you I'm the only Atreyu.
If you don't want me here, you shouldn't have sent for me. Do you like how Atreyu's half British accent thing comes in and out and in and out? And I like it. When he's in the Swamp of Sadness, it's just straight British Atreyu.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie, not very British Atreyu.
Not very British Atreyu.
I'm the only Atreyu from the Plains people. I'll be happy to go back and hunt the purple buffalo. So originally Atreyu was supposed to have green skin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's what it is in the book.
Oh, all right.
And they literally, in the book, they hunt purple buffalo, and their tribe's name means the greenskins.
Oh.
So he should have had green skin, probably.
I suppose.
Probably. They never say the name of the tribe, so I guess it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, Namekians.
Yeah, the Namekians. That would have been funny if it was the Namekian. But Atreyu now leaving. Chiron stops Atreyu. No, wait, don't go!
Don't go!
Don't go! Will you take on this quest?
Ignore all the things I just said. We need you.
Just totally ripped you, but I need you. I need you. To find a cure for our Empress to save our world. You have no weapons. You must go alone. Do I have a chance? I don't know, kid. But if you don't succeed, we're all going to die, so you better get a move on.
So what does he do? He sheds his weapons.
Sheds his weapons.
Man.
When do I begin?
When do I begin?
Now.
Oh, man. Before video games, you just had to go for it. Your real life was on the line.
Your real life was on the line. You just got to go for it. Take this. It's the Aurin. Aurin. So I always thought it was like Aurin with an O,
Yeah.
but it's spelled Auryn. So it's like Aurin. Aurin. It's just like the cover of the book. Oh my God, you guys.
Oh my God. Didn't see that coming.
He who wears the Aurin speaks for the Empress. It will guide and protect you. That's good.
Nice. Gonna need that.
So guess who has that original Aurin set piece? Guess. I want you to guess. Take a guess. It's somebody very famous. Like very famous in the movie world.
It's not the same guy that owns the Batmobile.
No.
That would be crazy.
No, not Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist.
Someone super famous.
Super famous in movies.
Super famous.
Not in front of the screen, behind the screen, or behind the camera.
Oh, Steven Spielberg.
You got it. Sorry, I was drinking my coffee. Ding, 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 ding.
I was like, how wrong was I?
No, I was trying to say ding, 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 but I had coffee in my mouth.
Nice.
You are correct.
That's cool.
Steven Spielberg and Wolfgang Petersen, the director of The NeverEnding Story, knew each other before this movie was made, before NeverEnding Story was made. Spielberg was a really big fan of Wolfgang's previous film called Das Boot, which is a very well-respected, very like classic military movie about the German U-boats.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen it. After doing some research, I think I will probably take some time and see it. It's well respected. Everybody loves it. So
nice.
Peterson approached Spielberg about seeing The NeverEnding Story so Spielberg could give him an idea on what an American audience would want out of this movie.
Nice.
Spielberg gave Peterson some suggestions, and ultimately 7 minutes was cut from the movie, mostly for pacing and language. I guess there was a bunch of swears in the movie.
Damn.
Peterson gave Spielberg the Aurin as a gift for the help. So that's neat, right? Steven Spielberg's got it, and apparently it sits on his desk, like at his production studio.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Amblin, his production, didn't have anything to do. Did it have something to do with it?
I don't think so.
I don't remember it having something. I'm surprised it didn't, honestly.
Yeah.
You'd think it would have for how much he's kind of tied to it.
Right.
I don't know. I guess whatever. So Atreyu and Artax are off in a hurry, and that like traveling theme that comes up a couple of times in the movie is just so epic.
So epic.
I love it so much. It's just as powerful to me as the opening song or the same music when there's the reveal of the ivory tower. Like, it's just awesome. I just so absolutely love it. Interesting side note. Hathaway, the actor that played Atreyu, broke his back during pre-production after he fell off a horse and was landed on it by the horse.
Jeez.
It landed on by the horse. The article said crushed by the horse, but he's alive.
He's alive.
Yeah, I don't think he was, but whatever. So they would the whole production was in jeopardy. They didn't think the movie was going to be able to be shot in time. But luckily, he's a quick healer, I guess.
This boy went through 11 auditions and a broken back, so we're going to make it work.
And so ultimately, it was started on time. So Noah Hathaway broke his back for this movie.
Damn.
It's a bit extreme if you ask me. So Artax and Atreyu are off on their adventure, and we get all the happy trails waving from all the characters that we've met already, which is really fun, which is kind of a motif a little bit through the movie, because it kind of happens one more time for sure, maybe another time.
For sure, one more.
For sure, one more time. It would make sense if it was only the one more time at the beginning and the end of the movie. Yeah. Some great, beautiful fantasy landscapes. The matte paintings, all that stuff that was hand-drawn and put into the scene while they're actually riding across, not a blue screen, but, not what's pictured in the movie.
Right.
I love it. It's so cool. It looks so realistic. I did watch it on a DVD copy, not a Blu-ray copy, so maybe some of that stuff gets a little bit lost in translation when it's a full...
I watched it on Blu-ray, and
it was fine.
I think it looks just fine.
That's great. It looks really, really good to me.
There was nothing in the movie that looked fake enough to take away from anything. So.
Nothing where you're just like, huh.
Yeah, no, I think it all works.
We'll talk about that some more, I'm sure, at another point. We get some more narration from Bastian, and we get to meet the Gmork, a creature of darkness, also beginning its quest.
Yes.
Good for him. Time for some lunch with Atreyu and Artax and Bastian. Does that sound like a good idea? No. It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. So I'm going to go grab my sandwich and take one bite and then say... Not too much.
It's a long journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one bite.
The one actor in this movie I got a hard time sometimes with Bastian. That's the one actor in this movie with his acting. It's sometimes a little bit difficult the way he acts, but that's okay.
That's all right.
That's okay. Back on the march with Atreyu and Artax. They've been searching everywhere for weeks. The Gmork is fast on Atreyu's trail. Finally, we make it to the Swamp of Sadness, and I'm glad that we're going to get to move past this part of the movie early on.
Yes.
It's a little weird that it is so early.
It is.
What did I write down? I got it here. It's 32 minutes in. Like, dang. Just slap you with that right away.
Grab your tissues.
So to dispel any urban legends out there, the horse did not actually die in the making of this movie. So apparently that's out there that the horse actually died.
That's crazy.
There were two identical horses that played Artax, and they were trained for long hours and stuff by professional horse handlers. Having them sink in that mud was basically like considered an impossible task by everybody, but they got him to do it. The look on that horse's face looks pretty stressed out.
Looks pretty terrified.
Pretty terrified.
He wasn't acting.
So yeah, they were trained to sink slowly into that mud. It was like a platform that was lowered within this, this mud. So the mud, you never do see it, and Peterson is first to point out whenever this gets brought up to him, the horse's head never goes underneath the mud. The horse's head never goes underneath the mud. So he may have a little bit of guilt for putting those horses
Yeah,
through.
maybe.
I don't know. Also, the Swamp of Sadness is actually just a circus tent filled with 4 feet of swamp, or 4 feet of mud.
Wow.
Yeah, that's all it is. Throw in some fog machines and you got a Swamp of Sadness.
Nice.
They spent 2 months of filming in that swamp.
Holy cow.
2 months of filming. And the scenes with Morla, which we will be getting to soon, took up most of that 2 months.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's a lot of time in that swamp.
Yeah.
4 feet of mud. The cast, routinely I saw, it was arduous, and it was depressing, and it was really difficult to have to go work in there day after day after day, especially for Noah Hathaway.
Yeah, just
covered in mud, having to get some of those scenes with Morla, like when he's getting slid off the Shell Mountain and he hits that mud, his head just like snaps back, and I'm like, yikes, dude, like, ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. Back to the swamp.
Swamp.
They've already made it through the Silver Mountains, through the Desert of Shattered Hopes, and the Crystal Towers. No success at finding anything that's going to help the Empress, so that only leaves the Swamp of Sadness and Morla the Ancient One. This brings us to one of the saddest things ever shown on the big screen, right?
Yeah.
You can't let the sadness overtake you.
Yeah.
Stupid horse.
Dumb horse.
Stupid horse. Yeah, so we'll just kind of gloss over it, but the horsey dies.
And
how does Atreyu not immediately succumb to his sadness and also sink directly to the bottom of the swamp?
Yeah, no one knows.
He's that much of a hero, right? He's got that much sense of self and will, I guess.
There we go.
The music in this scene, though, is also really awesome. It's like super Top Gun-esque to me. It reminded me of Goose's death scene.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Definitely.
I loved it, even though it's super sad. I was like, oh, at least the music's really awesome. I love all the synth and how much of the, if not all of it, I think there are some strings and stuff in some of the score, but just how much of it relies on synth. I just love the whole sound of the whole movie. It's just amazing to me. I just absolutely love it. So after trudging on, after losing his horse, Atreyu finally spots Shell Mountain, and Bastian whispers, Morla, the Ancient One. Morla is the mountain. Morla is the mountain.
Right.
As Morla emerges with Atreyu atop a tree, Bastian lets out a scream. And apparently Morla and Atreyu hear this, right? Then they both kind of look around like, what the? No. But they never say anything to each other. Like, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? So how do you think that was written in the book? Like the book he's reading. I've kind of thought about that. Like, so he's reading about the conversation with Atreyu and Morla, and then in the middle of a sentence, there's just a line of a blood-curdling scream.
Yeah.
And then the characters in the book looking around, and then there'd be a line of Bastian saying, did they hear me, or they couldn't have heard me? Like, it just seems like if the book was written like that, it would just be weird.
Yeah, definitely.
It would just be weird. I don't know. But he says that's impossible. That's what he says when in the book it says that they heard him scream.
Right.
That's impossible. It's almost like the book's being written in second person almost, which is like impossible to do.
Exactly.
So it would just be blank pages. Frankly, though, Morla could give two Fs about any of this stuff, right?
Definitely.
We don't even care.
We don't even care.
The RN makes her think twice, though, a little bit, right? I haven't seen that in thousands of years, or whatever it is. Atreyu does plead his case. If you don't help, the Empress will die. We don't even care whether or not we care. Like, Jesus.
All right, we get it, man.
And then Atreyu says, well, you're going to die too, right? And then Morla says, die? That at least would be something. Like, whoa. Like, jeepers. Some real depressed people in Fantasia.
Real depressed people.
Go away. Nothing matters. I do enjoy the sneezing bit. It's some good comedy inside like a really depressing scene, right?
Yeah.
It looked painful for Noah Hathaway as an actor.
Yes.
I thought it was funny that it turned out that Morla was allergic to humans, or to whatever Atreyu is, because they refer to the human boy or whatever, right? The human child. But and then, after sneezing a bit, Atreyu finds out that Morla is saying that she knows what's going on and how to help the Empress, but then he presses her on it, and she's like, well, actually, I don't know, but you can go check out the Southern Oracle. They probably know, right?
They should know something.
They should know. Only one thing, it's 10,000 miles away. That's so far.
So far.
Quickly back to Bastian. He hears the school bell. He's not going anywhere.
He ain't going nowhere.
He doesn't want to face his father, I think, is maybe the number one thing, right?
Definitely.
Or reality in a sense because of his mother dying.
Yeah.
So throw in a little thunderstorm to add a little ambiance, and you get to be sent away on the rest of our journey.
Yeah. And what again seems like a house attic, not a school attic.
Yes. Atreyu wouldn't quit now, right, Bastian? Yeah, he would not quit now. Back in the swamp, and the Gmork is on his way to kill Atreyu, and Atreyu is really struggling at this point. Could this be the end of our story? No, it's not.
Definitely not.
It's not, definitely not. Saved by Falkor, the luckdragon. This is one instance where the rigid Falkor arm swooping through the frame looked a little goofy to me.
Sure,
but that's all right. Suspension of disbelief at this point. It was totally good enough for me. It wasn't like so. It was the only reason I even noticed it was because I've watched this movie a few times now since this podcast, and you start really picking apart the movie on those last watches.
Obviously,
so that's the only reason I even noticed it. Saved by Falkor. He's a luck dragon.
He's a luck dragon.
He's a luck dragon.
He's a luck dragon who looks like a dog dragon.
Yes, he does. Just in the nick of time from the jaws of the Gmork. Just in the nick of time. So after days of unconsciousness, Atreyu finally comes to into the arms of Falkor. That'd be a bit disturbing.
Yes, definitely.
So just a little bit here on Falkor, according to Peterson. So this is all taken from an interview with Peterson. He's basically like, so it was the 80s. There were no computers that were capable enough of even doing anything that would look good on the screen at the time. So instead, they created all the creatures by hand, built them, animated them mechanically. Like, this is just quite the undertaking, especially with the size of Falkor. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
He was just so huge, he had to be built completely. Like, they couldn't do it in sections. They're like, we got to build the whole dang thing. We got to build the whole dang thing. There's actually 2 Falkors that were built for the movie, and one of them has a head that weighs 200 pounds.
All right.
So that's an interesting fact. Thanks, Internet.
Thanks, Internet.
It took about 15 people to animate Falkor, which is pretty intense. 15 separate people. So it'd be like one for one eyebrow, another one for another eyebrow, one for an eye, and then just so on and so forth for all his articulations that he would do. It was unusually difficult to coordinate.
I would assume.
And when the scenes were filmed, they would run a tape with a pre-recorded what Falkor was going to say. Not what Oppenheimer said, because he did it all after the movie was completed.
Sure.
And they would try to match the mouth movements with the recording, which to some varying success.
Yeah, definitely.
But Peterson did say he thinks it's the way it looks is part of what gives the movie its special charm.
Agreed.
And I do agree. If you pick it apart, does it look a little goofy? Sure.
Right.
But it's the charm of the movie. The way it looks is consistent from beginning to end.
Exactly.
So
you take it for what it is.
You take it for what it is. If you're ever in Bavaria, Germany, you can go ride Falkor.
Nice.
It's located in Bavaria's film studios, so like that's the film hub for German cinema.
Sure.
Apparently, an astonishing amount of people go to visit the Luckdragon every year. Sets from the film you can see too. So
that's pretty cool.
If you're ever in Bavaria,
yeah.
Hey, I know we've had people listening in Germany.
Hey, there we go.
Go. Report to us.
Go report to us. Send pictures.
I want to know what the experience is like.
Yeah.
So go do that for me. I demand it. That's a call to action.
That is a call to action.
Back to Atreyu.
Back to Atreyu.
He's trying to sneak away. That's a reasonable reaction to the situation he's in. Falkor does convince him to stay. I love children. For breakfast?
For breakfast?
Never.
Second breakfast?
Maybe once in a while. But never. Not today.
Not today.
But luckily for Atreyu, Falkor has already brought him most of the way to the Southern Oracle. 9,891 miles as the dragon flies. Having a luck dragon on your side is the only way to go on a quest.
Apparently.
It's good to have a friend. You have more than one. And we get to meet Ergelin Engelwook. Ergel and Engelwook, healer and scientist, respectively. Fun scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Really a lot of heart, really cool, really like kitschy, and it's just cool to watch. I love their 2 characters and how they're just like are they married? I mean,
they gotta be.
They gotta be married.
Yeah.
They have a very dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah.
Like that's how their relationship
You
works.
wench.
You wench to the winch. It's one of the best lines of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Their whole lives revolve around the Southern Oracle. Well, at least to the Southern Oracle to an extent, but this first gate for sure. I think that's like, because he even says later on that he's never been to the Southern Oracle, so it basically revolves around the gate. So lucky for Atreyu, he's landed with Falkor in the exact right spot he needs for his journey.
Perfect.
Like I said, Engelwook, he is an expert on the Southern Oracle. It's his scientific speciality. I enjoy that interaction where Atreyu's like in the doorway of their little cave thing, and Ergel is basically just ripping her husband apart and like mocking him, saying what he's going to say before he says it. And I really enjoy that. It's really funny, and the fact that Atreyu stuck with that potion that she gave him after she's like describing what's in it as he's drinking it. I guess it helped, maybe. It helped.
I mean, it must have, but holy cow.
We get to move up to that observatory now, which looks really fanciful and there's a word in there.
There is a word somewhere in there.
Nope.
Phantasmable.
Fantasiful. That might be the word. It's not the word. I loved the look of that observatory, and it's like pseudo telescope thing that I don't understand how it works, but I still love it.
But it's still super
it's
cool.
Crystal based.
It's crystal based.
To the winch, wench.
To the winch, wench.
And the death of a knight of some kind or another. The Sphinx's eyes stay closed until one that doesn't feel his own self-worth tries to pass by.
That fancy armor won't protect you, knight.
It did not. So after watching that dude die, what does Atreyu say?
My turn.
I'm going to try it. Impulsive much?
Yeah.
Like, for real. I know you got a job to do, but maybe, like, take a second here.
Take a second, man.
You've been unconscious for, like, maybe the better part of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He might have some brain damage. I mean,
I'm going to go with he probably has some brain damage.
Engelwook does try to stop Atreyu. Man, Engelwook tries to stop Atreyu. These words, man. These words. I got to learn how to speak, I guess. He hasn't told him about the second gate yet. It's even worse than the first. Is it worse than the first?
Not really.
Not really. So Atreyu cannot be swayed. He is off, and he closes that gap up to that gate like in a hurry.
In a hurry.
So maybe that was some of the 7 minutes that was cut out of the movie. Maybe there was like 3 minutes of him walking,
running,
or just walking, sauntering to the gate through the sand,
debating whether or not he's gonna make it through.
Yeah, they cut out. That is the whole 7 minutes that got cut out, right? Just that section.
Just that section.
He's got like a 7-minute like internal monologue that we never get to hear with all this insight and everything. I hope that's what it is. That would be great.
It would be.
So this scene, though, does bring us to the fact that the author, Michael Ende, hated this movie. Absolutely hated this movie, and specifically hated this scene like the most of all. So ultimately, he didn't get, the author, Ende didn't get that to make a 2-hour movie out of a super rich and full book, stuff's not going to make the cut.
Yeah.
And you can't put it all in the movie. And he just didn't get it. So originally he was supposed to write the screenplay with Wolfgang Peterson, but Peterson was like, you don't get it. You're fired. I'm going to write it with somebody else.
Jeez.
So they wrote it without him, and he didn't like it. And let me see here. Wolfgang Peterson was quoted as saying, he was not a friend of ours. Sadly, though, Ende died in 1995, so he's long gone, R.I.P. But this scene specifically, he hated the most. This was like the scene that he hated the most. He is quoted as saying, the Sphinxes are quite one of the biggest embarrassments of the film. They're full bosom strippers who sit there in the desert.
I mean, I did find it a little weird that there was boobies.
Agreed. It was very weird. It's very weird, and I've always thought that it's weird that there's boobies in this movie, and it's a PG movie.
Yeah.
I know it's like a sculpture, but it's still super weird.
Yeah.
It's super weird.
I don't think it would be in a PG movie nowadays.
No way. No
Zero.
way in heck. Yeah, those little whatever things would have gone much farther down and covered them nipples.
Covered them nips.
So Atreyu makes it through the gate, but he didn't have the self-worth to make it through the gate. He's just super athletic.
He's just way athletic.
Because, I mean, they fired on him. So that means he didn't have the self-worth to make it through the gate.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's got a little Rico in him.
Got a little Rico. It's a cool scene nonetheless, though. I do like the scene, even though it's a little weird. You just don't expect to see that type of thing in a kid's film for sure. And that burnt up skeleton, that's a bit much too for a kid's film.
Yeah.
That was very realistic and gory.
Definitely.
That was very realistic and gory. So after passing that gate, we quickly get up to the next gate.
Yep.
I'm assuming this is another instance where some of the movie was cut, probably an easy cut in between these two scenes. I would have liked to have seen maybe a minute of his adventure to the next gate just to see what he experienced, because according to what we see, he's trudging through a blizzard wearing a t-shirt and some leather pants. Like,
yeah.
That's just, I get it. It's a fantasy movie. Maybe that just is he climbed a mountain. Sure, if that makes sense. Climbed a mountain, it just got cold. But just a minute of what his adventure was in between. A quick montage. Even Rocky had a montage.
Is this before or after he's looking in the mirror in the white room or whatever?
So this is that gate. This is where he's looking in the mirror at that gate. He will have to face his true self, confronted with their true selves, most men run away screaming.
So his true self is Bastian?
I guess that's
because
what you
he's
would...
the reader
Right.
or whatever?
I would guess, and that makes sense.
So
I mean,
again,
that's
how
what
the hell was that written?
I agreed. Like
For Bastian.
For Bastian, how is he reading that,
Yeah.
right? So that makes a Bastian Atreyu's true self. Does that make Atreyu Bastian's true self?
I
Because,
mean,
they look at it. It seems like they look at each other.
Yeah.
Like, what is Bastian looking at? Is he just staring off into the distance while he's reading his book?
Yeah,
Or is he,
right.
like, physically seeing something manifest in front of him?
right. Like, it seems to make sense, or at least what he wants his true self to be.
Yeah.
Like if he wasn't bullied and whatever. You know?
I think that is a reasonable explanation, that they're each other's true selves, or at least like the desired upon true selves
Yeah.
that they would like to be. That makes more sense for Bastian to Atreyu
Yeah.
versus Atreyu to Bastian.
And then Atreyu is looking at him like, silly, I am you. You are me.
Basically, right? The moment of realization kind of scares Bastian, though, and he chucks that book, right?
Yep.
This has gone too far!
This has gone too
I'm
far.
gonna throw this book!
It's too confusing.
I'm too confused. I need a thesaurus. But the story has to finish, so...
Yes. Sorry, Bastian. Get back to reading that book.
What if they really do know about me in Fantasia?
Oh, my God.
And Atreyu passes through the mirror. So that represents, like, him, like, I don't
know.
Because all of a sudden he's just at the Oracle.
I rewatched that. I rewatched the movie, obviously, but that part specifically, I'm like, is there something I'm missing? And that's really all I can get. And like you said, then he just goes through and, okay.
So if I had to guess, the 7 minutes of movie that have been cut out are from the observatory to the first gate, from
Yep.
the gate to the mirror gate,
Yep.
from the mirror gate to the Southern Oracle.
Yeah.
That is probably the 7 minutes of movie in there that's been
solid
cut out.
2 and 3
Two,
out of each
2,
of
and
them
3.
scenes.
Couldn't you show me 2 seconds of Atreyu stepping out of a mirror on the other side?
Something.
Just stepping out of the mirror.
Where is he landing?
That would be great. That would be great. So yeah, we just get to see Atreyu walking up on the Southern Oracle. It is a super cool shot.
Yeah.
I think that blue hue is just mysterious and really, really cool looking. It's like the first gate is like a rare, and the
Yeah.
second gate
Yeah.
is like an ultra rare.
Yeah,
Right? That's
definitely.
what it kind of felt like.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of felt like to me. Is it confusing that the first gate and the Oracle are the same thing but different colors?
Sort of.
It's sort of confusing. The color difference is enough to make it, but it feels not as like, I don't know, like you'd think that there should be a little bit of a wow moment to what the Southern Oracle actually is.
Yeah, more difference.
Yeah, just there you go, more different. So it could have been just a different set of statues instead of the same
Something.
statues. Yeah, I would have liked that.
Double boobies again.
Yeah, double boobies
you-
again.
You know.
Double boobies again. Man, what a string of movies. Species to NeverEnding Story. Who knew? Who knew? Atreyu does learn what must happen to save the Empress, with a rather cryptic answer to Atreyu's question. You must give the Empress a new name. I should add an echo effect on there in post-production, right?
There we go.
But I can give her any name. No one from Fantasia can do it. Only a human child can give her new name. Give her this new name. It sounded weird. New name. You can only find one beyond the boundaries of Fantasia. If you want to save the world, you must hurry. Like we've been telling you to hurry the whole movie. You must hurry.
It's time to run.
We don't know how much longer we can withstand the nothing. And they just start falling apart. It represents that you got to hurry.
Yeah.
Like you got to hurry up because we're falling apart.
We're falling apart like now.
So Atreyu calls Falkor. Falkor shows up at the Southern Oracle. Seems like more than 7 minutes of movie probably could have been cut out.
Definitely. Yeah. Still some questions to be answered.
So, yeah, Atreyu probably could have just ridden Falkor to the Southern Oracle, which, we wouldn't have had his journey. He wouldn't have had to go through his trials and tribulations to get there. So
Right.
that makes sense why Falkor was probably like, this is as far as I'm going to take you, buddy.
Yeah.
You got to get there on your own now.
That would have been funny though if he just flew him over both those gates.
on the way back, and Treyu's just like, what?
What?
God.
Could have done that the whole time.
Now riding Falkor, Atreyu takes the words of the Oracle very literally, and they're searching for the boundaries of Fantasia like it's a physical thing.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't suspect it. Like, in my mind, I would not have ultimately been like, there's got to be a wall somewhere that we can climb over.
Yeah.
I would have thought of it as more of a, not a literal thing, but as a figurative thing.
Right. But this is like flat Earth theory or something. There's got to be an end to it.
Any way you look at it, faster, Falkor, faster! All right, hang on.
Hang on.
And the adventure theme again. Got goosebumps
Oh, yeah.
again.
Again. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So, according to Hathaway, riding Falkor was not a very glamorous thing to do.
Sure.
You would basically be on a 10-foot head and neck attached to a forklift motor, and you'd be 15 to 20 feet off the ground. So they're not
Yikes.
like a short distance.
Yeah.
Be pads and like cardboard boxes in case you fell. And then apparently Falkor would overheat every 20 minutes, making him act similar to a bucking bronco.
Yikes.
So that doesn't sound like a whole heck of a lot of fun.
The real reason he broke his back.
And then also, this also reminds me that with these flying sequences, it's a blue screen, right? That's the way you create this look.
Right.
At the time of filming this movie, it was the world's largest blue screen used.
Wow.
Yeah, 90 feet high, 35 feet wide. Like, that's a big blue screen.
That is a huge blue screen.
That's pretty neat. Like, some of the, like, the real, like, I don't know if groundbreaking is the right word, but like the attention to detail, the lengths that these people went to establish the shots and the look that they wanted to establish.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool that somebody felt so passionately about a movie made in West Germany in the mid-'80s when the Berlin Wall was still a thing. Like,
Yeah.
we're still separated East and West Germany or East and West Berlin at this point.
That's crazy.
So, like, that's a testament to Wolfgang Peterson and whoever else wanted this movie made.
Yeah.
Because obviously Michael Ende might have wanted it made at one point, but then did not want it made
Then
anymore.
did not.
Did not want it made anymore. It's a really cool transition from the flying skies to Bastian looking out the window in the attic. Like that, I like that transition. It makes them feel connected. It makes them
Right.
feel like they're kind of in the same headspace almost. And then he says, I wish they'd ask me. My mother had the most wonderful name. Back to Fantasia, where Atreyu and Falkor reach the Sea of Possibilities. The Sea of Possibilities looks like it's run out of possibility.
Yeah.
They could go no further. So if we know the rockbiter came from the north, and we know that Teeny Weeny and Nighthawk came from the south and the west, so this is the east side of Fantasia, right?
Gotta be.
It's gotta be the east. I guess Atreyu would not have been knowledgeable of that information because you would have just headed straight east to begin with if you knew that other stuff.
Yeah.
They seemingly fly directly into the nothing, and Atreyu loses his grip and falls from 35,000 feet-ish, somewhere around there. That's that image of him falling beneath Falkor, and Falkor's like completely helpless.
Yeah.
That's some nightmare fuel if you're a little kid, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have that nightmare.
Oh, definitely.
You can have that nightmare, falling into nothingness, and quite literally in Atreyu's,
Yeah.
Atreyu's instance. Yeah, like that is a frightening scene, if you ask me.
Definitely.
Atreyu lived.
He lived.
He lived. And is searching for Falkor. -1, Aurin.
Aurin.
Aurin. It's like that South Park episode, The Planetarium.
Aurin.
Planetarium. The beach that Atreyu woke up on looks like some real end-of-the-world stuff. So the nothing is definitely there doing its thing.
Yeah.
Atreyu runs across a rockbiter, so that's pretty convenient.
Yeah.
Like, great.
Perfect.
He made it pretty dang far. I don't know. So after he made it to the ivory tower at the beginning of the movie,
Yep.
and we're unaware of his travels after that. Do you think that maybe they were staying there for the most part in that area, and that explains why we're able to find the ivory tower so quickly after the end of the movie?
Probably.
And it's probably pretty close proximity to
Yeah.
the center of Fantasia, maybe where this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. The rockbiter is seriously depressed, like even more than last time at the end of this
Yeah.
first scene. They looked like such big, strong hands. his friends died because he couldn't hold on to them. Like, that is just depressing stuff. Just depressing stuff. And now the rockbiter's going to let himself die. I mean, that's the only thing that he feels that he can do now, I guess.
Yeah.
The nothing will be here soon, and I will let it take me away. That's, man, dude, that's some really, really sad stuff. Some really, like, abstract concepts for a 6-year-old to really grasp and understand that he wants to die because his friends died. Like, that's some heavy, heavy stuff, if you ask me. Atreyu does continue to search for Falkor, moving deeper into the ruins of what must have been a city at one point. And we see Atreyu and his story told on the walls of these ruins. It's like, this is where his story is being created, the current story that we're in. So it's like maybe even a new part of Fantasia that may not be falling apart necessarily, but maybe being built up slowly. I mean, obviously it does fall apart because the nothing can't be stopped quickly, but that's what it kind of feels like. And it has like a real like religious motif to it, doesn't it? It feels like something that you'd see in like a Catholic church or a Lutheran church, like on the paintings and such like that. So I'm sure that was no mistake. He's looking at everything on the walls, and we're seeing it from the beginning of the story all the way up and through his time at the Ivory Tower, getting his quest, all the way up to where he's going to encounter the Gmork again, finally, and it's literally right in the same room that he's at now. The Gmork doesn't know it's Atreyu in front of him.
Confusing. Very
confusing, considering he was actively hunting him throughout the beginning half of the movie.
Yeah.
He does say in this dialogue that he lost him after the Swamps of Sadness, but I mean, if he wasn't able to, like, well, you know what? That makes even more sense now that I think about it. It is weird that he doesn't recognize him maybe by the smell of Atreyu, but the fact that he lost him makes perfect sense and wasn't able to reestablish a trail on Atreyu because Falkor flew him away.
That's true.
Yeah, but it still seems odd that he wouldn't recognize what his prey was supposed to be, who he was hunting.
Like you said, the smell.
The smell probably would. Yeah, the smell probably would have done it. Us and Atreyu, the audience and Atreyu, we find out what Fantasia basically really is in this next dialogue sequence. Every part of Fantasia is a piece of the hopes and the dreams of mankind. Fantasia is dying because people have begun to lose their hopes and forget their dreams, allowing the nothing to grow stronger. And Atreyu wants to know what the nothing is, and we find out that it's like despair destroying the world, and that the Gmork has been trying to help it along, and Atreyu wants to know why. I mean, that's a logical question. Why are you doing this? I would like to know. And he says it's because the people with no hopes and I don't know, no hopes and dreams, they're easy to control, and whoever can control the people has the power. So it's some real, like, Big Brother stuff all of a sudden the movie turned to, right? Like, it's a turn that you don't necessarily see coming, and I didn't really grasp as a child, you know. I just remember this being, like, the scary part of the movie.
Right.
And then Atreyu asks who the Gmork actually is, and we find out that he's a servant sent by a higher power to serve the nothing.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of research into what the Gmork is actually supposed to represent, because I was taking it too literally, thinking that some physical entity had actually sent some weird fantasy, like there's some super boss, evil villain in Fantasia.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's like the manifestation of lies in the real world.
Okay.
And so, like, whatever government entity, religious entity, whatever powerful entity you want to peg that on, it's the lies they tell us to keep us under control.
Okay.
So that's what the Gmork is supposed to be, I guess. It makes sense when I read that description, but I don't necessarily know that I would have drawn that conclusion.
Definitely not.
Taking it literally like I was is not the correct. There's no big super bad guy in this at all. It gets revealed. Atreyu says, "I am Atreyu." And the Gmork's like, "Well, I'm going to eat you." And Atreyu stabs him right in the chest.
Yeah.
Another instance of some heavy gore for a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Atreyu
gets one across the chest.
He does. He does get one right across the chest. I wish that would have been a little bit more evident. Because it does. I wasn't able to tell right away. I mean, you can tell that later on that it is some sort of a scratch, scar, whatever, but I don't know. A little bit more evident would have been good for me. He killed him with a pointy rock.
Killed him with a pointy rock.
Killed him with a pointy rock. Right after the death of the Gmork, we see Falkor looking for the Arn, all while the Nothing is destroying Fantasia, and possibly Atreyu with it at this point. I love the effects of the Nothing absorbing the world at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously a set being tilted on its edge and stuff, to make him hang, but it still looks really cool. It looks, the rocks don't look like foam rocks. It looks like they carry their weight like they're supposed to. It's really well put together. I just really enjoy it. It looks like despair. It looks like destruction. It looks like the end of the world.
Definitely.
I like that a lot. Falkor does find the Aran in the water. Was that his first task, was to look for that, and then maybe he was going to then use it to help him guide himself to Atreyu?
It must be.
I don't know. That I guess. Falkor does rescue Atreyu just in the nick of time, and boom, Fantasia is destroyed.
It's done.
Yep. Our heroes are in space now looking for the Ivory Tower. It is really cool. I wish they would have had more adventures in space. I want a spin-off movie of just Falkor and Atreyu adventures in space going all over the place. And then Atreyu has the great idea to let the Arn guide them in the search for the Ivory Tower. And there she is.
There she is.
The Ivory Tower. That music, man.
There it is again.
Call me R.L. Stein, because I've got goosebumps. Just love when that camera pulls in on that tower. It looks so good. Absolutely every time, and I'm going to talk about it forever and ever and ever and ever. Falkor and Atreyu, they land at the tower, and Atreyu enters the Empress's inner sanctum. I remember having a huge crush on the Empress when I was a kid.
Sure,
I was like, oh, man, I had a huge crush on her as a kid. Huge crush. Tammy Stronach, who played the childlike Empress, lost both of her 2 front teeth before filming, so she's wearing fake teeth.
Jeez.
So if you thought she sounded a little goofy, that's why.
Wow.
That's why. So that stinks. You get your first big movie role and you lose your 2 front teeth, and they've put some fake teeth in your mouth for a movie. Atreyu, why do you look so sad? I have failed you, Empress. No, you haven't. You have brought him with you. Who? Who was it? The Earthling child. The only one that can save us all. You knew about the Earthling child?
Yeah, you knew about this guy?
Of course, I knew everything. My horse died.
Yeah.
I almost drowned. I fell into the nothing. Come on, lady. What are you doing to me here? You knew all this? But he's here. He's here with you now, listening to every word we say. And then Bastian goes, What? What? Where is he? Of course, Atreyu wants to know at this point because he's fairly exasperated at this whole bit now, it seems like. Just as he is sharing your adventures, others are sharing his. That's us.
That's us.
That's us. I do love how it kind of just spells it out there for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. It's really cool that they actually say that's you guys.
That's you guys.
That's you guys. It's really some Inception type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Not Inceptional, like the movie Inception.
Right.
Bastian can't believe it. Well, you better believe it, buddy. He's the only one that has the power to stop the Nothing, but he doesn't get it yet.
Nope.
He doesn't think that one little boy has the power to make a difference. And then Bastian says, is it really me? Yeah. Yeah, they're talking about you in the book.
That's what we're getting at.
What do I have to do? And he has to give the Empress a new name. He's already chosen it. He just has to call it out. It's pretty simple, right? With the Ivory Tower crumbling and the thunderstorm in Vancouver really messing things up, the window in the attic blows open. The Empress and Bastian looking directly at each other now at this point. Some pretty powerful stuff. It's a really good climax of the movie here coming. Tammy should have maybe won a couple of Oscars. I really like her performance. Maybe not Oscars, but I really liked her performance.
No, she is good.
Bastian, why don't you do what you've dreamed you could do? I can't. I have to keep my feet on the ground. Oh, Bastian. Call my name. Oddly sexual. Oh, boy. Just come on, Bastian. Just scream out the name. You already chose it.
Yeah, come on.
You know what the name is going to be. So Bastian screams out, Do you know what the name was?
I don't remember it.
Moonchild.
Moonchild.
So in the last podcast, I had talked about how I didn't know what the name of the mother was and how I had looked it up in the past and still couldn't find it. The information was readily available on the internet when I was looking at it, and then when I watched the movie, I could hear him say it. Maybe just because I knew what he was saying at this point.
Sure.
But I just really remember as a kid not knowing what he said and thought it was just like, but it's Moonchild. And
Nice.
he gave the childlike empress his mother's name. So his mother's name was Moonchild.
Okay.
Do you believe that dude, his dad, married a Moonchild?
I do not.
I do not either. I mean, opposites attract, I guess.
Yeah.
Obviously a child of the 60s if your name is Moonchild.
Moonchild.
That's a unique name. I don't think I've ever run across that name in real life.
Yeah, get over your mom, son. She doesn't exist. There is no Moonchild.
No more Moonchild. Finally, though, the Empress and Bastian are face to face. It's always dark in the beginning. At this point, Fantasia has been reduced down to a single speck of rubble, and Bastian has the power to rebuild Fantasia with wishes in his imagination.
Whoa, how many wishes do I get?
As many as you want, Bastian.
Oh, baby.
So his first wish is to rebuild Fantasia. Obvious.
Shouldn't have that been it, even if he only had one?
Yes.
Like, if he cares as much and is invested into the story as seemingly he is, that would be his wish.
Exactly.
But he's like, how many do I get? Because I'm a little selfish. Even though this book was great and I'm very invested, I'm a little selfish. I like my mother back.
He should have just, like, dead-eye looked her in the face and was like, I want $1 million and 50 hot hoes.
Oh, my God.
Roll credits.
Roll credits. Whoa, I did not see the ending coming.
So now we get to see the triumphant travels of Bastian through Fantasia. We get our second, like, yay, you did it, from all the
waving at everybody.
characters, you know.
There's a train. Artax.
Yeah, I love it. Artax is back alive. Whoop, whoop. And when that scene opens up, Bastian, like, pumps his hand in the air and goes, yeah, you know. I'm going to include the link in the show notes, but there's a thing on YouTube called the NeverEnding Yeah, and just go check it out. It's worth your time. The NeverEnding Yeah.
NeverEnding Yeah.
It's worth your time. So first wish, rebuild Fantasia. Great job. Second wish, revenge.
Revenge.
Stone cold revenge. Falkor loves it. Let's go kill some children. Falkor loves it.
Yeah, he's like, this is awesome.
I love seeing Fantasia back on track, and even though it's petty revenge, it still feel good when you see the two of the kids get in the dumpster.
Yep.
Why didn't all three get in the dumpster? One got a kind of off on his own little thing, hiding under a big old bag of trash or something like that. But still, good revenge, makes you feel good. That 7-year-old in you's like, yeah, stupid bullies. And the movie closes with some narration. Bastian made many other wishes and had many other amazing adventures before he finally returned to the ordinary world. But that's another story. Turn around. I couldn't get the note at the beginning because then the song hits.
Yeah.
The song hits immediately.
Yeah.
How's it go? I can't get the note. I couldn't get the note. How's it go? I wanted to turn around every now and that's the song that I went into. It's the wrong song.
Yeah, I just keep thinking of the beat.
That's
what I keep thinking of.
Look at what you see in her face, the mirror of your dreams. Roll credits.
Roll credits. And everyone listening just got goosebumps.
Yes, they did. Call them R.L. Stein because they got goosebumps. I wasn't sure if that was worth saying again, but I said it again. Final opinions. Did you like it?
Obviously, I liked it. Yeah, this was great. One of the movies that we've done that I did not see until this homework assignment, so that was awesome. And feels very 80s.
Yeah.
And I love every second of it. I like the fact that it's only 90 minutes, so we got to crank out a bunch of watch-throughs on it. I told you when we talked about it last week that it's It's another one like Top Gun that I'm genuinely upset I didn't see when I was younger. I feel like I would have watched this so many times as a kid if I would have owned it. But great movie. I know you like it, but what did you think, Drew?
Absolutely love it, and I could watch this movie on repeat. There's something about it that is just like I can just keep on watching it and watching it and watching it. It never got boring for me. So normally when I prepare for this podcast, I watch the movie a fair amount of times, and that last watch through on almost all of these movies, the eyelids start getting a little heavy a couple of times just because it's been seen a few times in a row now. This movie, that did not happen with me. I was sitting upstairs getting my final watch through taken care of this morning, and I was like, I'm wide awake during the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's just a great piece of the 80s. So many fantasy movies take their cues from the foundation that this movie set down for a lot of other fantasy tropes and stuff as it went forward into the 90s and even to the 2000s. And this movie deserves the respect it gets, and I'm glad that a new generation, with the help of us and Stranger Things, is getting to experience this movie, because it's well worth everybody's time. I really think it is. It should be one of those movies that you talk about when you're growing up. Like, you haven't seen The NeverEnding Story yet?
Yeah.
You gotta see NeverEnding Story. It's really old, but it's good.
And way back in our pre-intro episode, I think you said NeverEnding Story 2. You almost thought you liked more than 1. So is 2 and 3 good, or is just 2 good? Or
I've never seen 3.
Oh, okay.
2 is good. It was the one that I saw first. I saw 2 first and then went back and saw 1. 1 blows 2 out of the water.
Okay, sure.
But I still really like 2 also. It's a little bit skews just a tiny bit older than 1 does. So instead of hitting that like 7, 8, 9-year-old, this one kind of targets that 9, 10, 11-year-old audience. The themes are a little scarier and stuff like that, but it's still a good movie. But the first one's way better.
Any recurring characters?
Yes, they're all back. They're all back.
Okay.
Yep, they're all back. Different actors for Bastian and Atreyu.
Sure.
The rockbiter's back with a little baby rockbiter. Yeah, he's got a son. I remember read it was a son. I don't think it was a daughter. It was a son. But yeah, I mean, the same. Falkor is back. Like everybody's back.
Okay, cool.
Everybody's back. So. Yeah, it would be worth a watch. We'll probably get to it at some point. But I'm in no hurry to get to that one.
For sure.
That movie was worth getting to in the first 50.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about with the NeverEnding Story before we move on to our homework assignment?
The only thing I'll say is that for real, if you did not watch this, you need to watch it for the music alone. But it's a really good movie. So go do your homework. Yeah. If you listen to this point and didn't do your homework, shame on you, and go do your homework.
And then listen to this episode again.
And tell your friends.
Tell your friends. You do not have bigger fish to fry than this movie. You do not have bigger
fish to fry.
So our homework assignment is going to wrap up Ren and Stimpy Season 1, and we're going to do the final 2 episodes of that season, numbers 5 and 6. We already did episode 3 in our episode number 8, Double Nicktoons Weekend, and in Overdue Homework episode 24, we covered 1, 2, and 4 from Season 1. Ren and Stimpy was created by John Cristofalusi, and it was originally produced by Spumco for Nickelodeon, and is starring Martin T. Ren Hoek, Stimpy J. Cat. You guys have heard me say that a few times already, I think. So, episode 5, segment A, is called Marooned, and that one is another Ren and Stimpy. Nope, that's Untamed World. Is Marooned the space one? There's another space one in these 2 episodes. So either way. Marooned, and that is 5A. 5B is called Untamed World, a cartoon. That is 5B. 6A is called Black Hole, and 6B is called Stimpy's Invention. So just 2 episodes this time around. It should be a nice quick hitter of an episode. We have talked about extra credit a little bit in the past, but we are going to record another extra credit episode after we record the Ren and Stimpy episode. So,
boom.
I'm excited to get some Ren and Stimpy done. It'll be cool to have Season 1 done, and we will be continuing to do Ren and Stimpy. Season 2 will be on its way. Trav, Take me to the outro.
Let's get to some emails. So our first email comes from Sorry I Don't Go Beep Beep Beep. Wants to know if we have a favorite book of our own.
Favorite book of my own. Well, I'm going to say my favorite book is it's a book called Ender's Game. It's by Orson Scott Card. And if anybody is familiar with Orson Scott Card, he has recently come under fire for his views on homosexuality and the trans community. I definitely do not endorse any of that stuff, but I love his Ender's Game book and the whole series around it. So I bet you I've read that book a dozen times.
Sure.
A close second is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series by Douglas Adams. I've read those a few times. I absolutely love those books. Hilarious books that really shaped the way I feel about sci-fi, and especially like comedy sci-fi. So
Yeah.
I would recommend either of those. And then another, like, if you want to go for, I guess it's still considered fiction, but Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a really fun read too.
Oh,
that
sure.
I've enjoyed reading that one in the
Nice.
past.
I've shamefully not read as many books as I should, but my favorite I put is The Hobbit.
Definitely a great book. I don't think I ever got through it though. I need to.
Sure.
I need to like read the book all the way through.
It's really good. I've never read the Lord of the Rings books, but I've read The Hobbit.
And just like you, I probably haven't cracked a novel in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it's been a really, really long time. And
Yeah, I read through Harry Potter within the past decade,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I need to, it's just good for your brain, and
Yeah.
I need to do it. And
Definitely need to do it more.
I like movies and TV and video games, though.
Yeah, there's no books on this podcast. Next email comes from I Dress Myself by Myself. Wants to know what was a brand of clothing that was popular or even just something that you wore that you don't really see anymore.
Zubas.
Zubas.
Yeah, Janko jeans. You occasionally see a pair of Jankos out there.
Yeah.
Jabot jeans. Those were really big when I was in 5th, 6th grade. Everybody had the Jabots, and I never had Jabots. I don't know. I'm trying to think. The Heat T-shirts, the color change when you would wear them when it was like sunny out. Those were really popular. I remember for a summer. Obviously, fanny packs. Everybody had those.
Yeah,
those were wickedly popular. Zubas especially. Did you wear Zubas?
I did not.
You did not wear Zubas. So there was this, you would roll them and pin them. That's when you were really, really cool, okay? So you would pull the pant leg out. So if you're not familiar with Zubas, they're a really loose material. They're really flowy. Wrestlers were really into them in the early 90s. They were actually invented in Minnesota, interestingly enough. I still have a pair of Zubas, too, that I wear in the wintertime as pajama bottoms.
Nice.
They're original Zubas with the pink lace in them and everything. I love them. They have the weirdest print on them, though. It's like a palm frond print. It's not like a leopard print like it usually is, or weird stripes and stuff. It's like tropical palm fronds. It's very weird, but
all right.
Love them. It's like black and white. It's the main color is black and the palm fronds are white. It's
nice.
I don't know. But you would roll them and pin them. So you'd pull the pant leg out flat against your leg, so all the extra would be out to the side.
Yeah.
And you'd fold it over so that it would be tight around your ankle.
Okay.
And then you'd roll it twice, and where the big ball was, where most of the thread was, or most of the fabric was, you'd take a safety pin and you'd pin it all together, and you would wear them your Zubas like that at school, and it was the coolest thing you could do.
Definitely.
It was so cool.
Sounds really cool.
Roll them and pin them.
Roll 'em
and pin them. I'll never forget. You don't roll and pin your Zubas? And I was like, what? He's like, no, here, I have extra safety pins. We got to roll them and pin them. Okay, let's roll them and pin them. That's what I did from then on out.
Life-changing.
Life-changing, roll them and pin them. How about you, man?
The one I wrote was bum equipment.
Oh.
B.U.M equipment. I had bum. Well, I mean, I'm not here to say that was popular, so that's not answering the popular question. That's just something that I wore that I do not see anymore. Bum equipment. I remember, my elite-ish, expensive-ish clothes that I would get were Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, Tommy Hilfiger.
I mean, that exists still, but it's not nearly sought after, I feel like, as it was when I was a kid.
That Hilfiger logo was all over everything as much as Nike was in the late 90s. Hilfiger was the coolest.
Oh, I remember when I got my first past the knees pair of Tommy Hilfiger jean shorts. And it was legendary.
And they had the little thing on the bottom of the cuff, the Tommy Hilfiger thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bringing back jean shorts.
I had some Tommy Hilfiger painter jeans, so those were pretty BA.
Nice.
Got them at the Tommy Hilfiger outlet in Medford.
Nice.
Never forget that day.
Oh, man.
Never forget that day.
Oh, man, I miss old-fashioned.
Yeah, man. Stonewashed. Oh, yeah.
Stonewashed.
Acid wash jeans.
Next one comes from Lego My Ego. Wants to know, when you were a kid, were you a waffle, pancake, or French toast person?
So it was always waffle was the first choice. Honestly, until I met my wife, now almost 15 years ago, I wasn't like a breakfast person.
Sure.
Like I would go to McDonald's and it would be like 9:45 or before, and I'd be like, any chance you could make a hamburger?
Yeah.
And sometimes they would do it.
Nice.
But now, if I had to choose for breakfast stuff, it would be waffles.
Okay.
Pancakes are a second. French toast are a third. The French toast gets to be too rich and filling for my taste.
Sure.
But now I'm a big breakfast guy. Kristen converted me into breakfast, but waffles.
Yeah. I'm not a big breakfast person either, but I still love all three of these. I put French toast as my favorite one,
Okay, yeah.
actually. When I was a kid, I probably ate waffles more because of the ease.
Yes.
Frozen waffles,
Yes.
obviously. And I remember going to a local restaurant, the Ulmer, and getting pancakes that I would douse in syrup.
Nice. Stop me if you've heard this. Pro tip for French toast. You get a half a gallon of vanilla ice cream. You melt it, and you use that for the batter for your French toast.
What?
It is amazing.
Like, instead, do you still put cinnamon in it, or do you? So there's no egg, or
Well, the egg's already in the milk
or-
in the ice cream.
Man, that is. We're gonna be trying that.
You can add cinnamon or whatever you want, but
Sure.
the times we've done it, just a melted half a gallon of ice cream, of vanilla
Nice.
ice cream.
Nice.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's pretty dang
I mean,
good.
it sounds pretty dang good.
Try it.
Last one here is my question for Drew. It's a zombie apocalypse. What weapon do you choose? A pistol with no silencer but unlimited ammo. B, a knife that's indestructible. C, an aluminum bat. Or D, figure it out on the fly.
So I'm going to, no offense, I'm going to disregard D. I'm going to choose between your three options, and I think the choice is the indestructible knife.
Sure.
You do have to get pretty up close and personal if you want to kill people with it, but as a utilitarian device, if it's indestructible, would be indispensable.
Exactly.
This you did not say that it limits you to finding other weapons.
No.
So you could potentially find other weapons later on, but,
This is you have it with you the whole time.
So I think I go knife. What about you, Trav?
That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The only thing I debated between the gun's not an option, and not in those zombie shows I watched. Like, it'd be fun for a while, but then you're gonna attract way too many other zombies. Even though you have unlimited ammo, you also have to be an amazing shot if you get swarmed. I mean, but the bat was a close option because you don't have to get as close and personal. But I feel like you could get swarmed a little easier with a bat than you could with an indestructible knife.
Yeah, the bat has a better chance of making deadly contact with the head, though, right?
Right.
But the knife has a higher chance, if you do strike the head, of actually doing the killing in the first blow.
Yes, yeah.
So the bat might take more than one blow, but you have a better chance of hitting them in the head with it.
So if I'm taking them all one by one,
yeah,
I mean, they're both valid options. But.
What if I am in a forest fire lookout tower, and I have that pistol with unlimited ammunition? Does that mean the gun never runs out of ammunition, or I just have an unlimited supply that I have to reload?
You just have an unlimited supply that you have to reload.
I still think if you're at a high enough vantage and your structure you're in is secure enough, where we're not talking zombies that can climb and run and stuff like we're talking.
Yeah, we're not talking World War Z.
We're talking Walking Dead. Okay, Walking Dead zombies. Then I think you choose the pistol.
Yeah.
Because you could just be firing all day at these zombies, you know? Yeah, you got to reload, but you get really good at it after a while.
That's true.
So in this hypothetical world, within my unlimited ammo, is it like in a storage facility that I have to venture to recover for the day? Or is it like a magic box where I open it, there's a box of shells, and I can take it out and close it, and then open it, new box of shells.
It's a magic box.
It's a magic box. Okay, so then yes.
Because otherwise no unlimited supply would be unlimited.
No,
so that
that's
part
true.
of it's got to be
Magic box. So yes, and then you could potentially wait out a swarm, right?
Right.
But I mean, if you get enough of them, they're gonna have that weight crush on the stuff.
Yeah.
You'd have to have quite the secure location to be able to pull that off. The gun would be an option, but under some very specific circumstances.
Right.
Okay. The knife it is.
The knife it is. All right. Well, that wraps up emails. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the emails. And please keep helping us spread the word of the podcast. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook for updates and assignments. And as always, don't forget to tune in to the next exciting episode of the Overdue Homework Podcast.